And we are back, and we just finished watching Hulu's No One Will Save You from 2023, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. This is written and directed by Brian Duffield. Excellent.
Yeah, this was
really good. What would you... So... I think you sent me the trailer for this, and you were like, "This looks interesting," and I was like, "Yes, it does." And it felt like, I mean, if you've seen the trailer, I don't think this is a spoiler. It feels like an alien invasion.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, they're not really hiding that. I mean, you don't really see the aliens in the trailer, but it's enough of. It has all the tropes of an alien. There's lights coming through window, people levitating.
But having said
long fingers.
It also felt like horror to me.
Yeah, well, they're not exclusive types of movies. There's plenty of alien horror movies, yeah.
I didn't catch the horror from the trailer, but watching
Oh, really? I totally caught the trailer was all horror.
Really? I thought it was more like alien invasion, monster of the week kind of thing.
No, just the way they were the way they were presenting things in the trailer with there's some sort of shady or blurry or thing in the background that you see moving, the main character hiding in terror or running, something approaching at great speed. You know, that there were a lot of like scary moments. I mean, the trailer was pretty much all terror.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch. I mean, it was, I don't know about terror, but it was definitely like nail biting thriller type thing for me, but I didn't catch the elements of horror. But watching it now, it was really, really well done as far as atmosphere and dread and tension.
Yeah, especially in the beginning when they were really hiding what it was. I mean, right. they are what the creatures looked like.
Yeah.
I would say that lasted for maybe a half hour, and then you get a very good look at it.
Yeah,
so
you get an eyeful.
After that point, it's different.
Well, it seemed like it was like in drips and drabs, because when she first encounters it, she sees it in reflection or something. But then when she's hiding in her room, you get to see pieces of it.
You get a better look. Yeah, you get to see parts of its body.
Right.
Quite clearly.
Yeah. I would put this in the same genre as like Talk to Me. Because that also, I think, was rated PG-13.
I wouldn't put it in the same genre. No, because the Talk to Me didn't have any sort of like physical thing that you could fight against, really.
True.
This Talk to Me was more supernatural, and that's like one of the things that makes supernatural horror creepy and scary is because it's 9 out of 10 times there is nothing to physically punch or stab or anything, and running away is meaningless because you run and it's there, and you run again and it's there, and it's always there.
Right.
Whereas there's the tension. I'm gonna hide. Maybe this will work. Will it work? I don't know. Oh my God, it's so close.
Yeah.
Turn around. Look, there it is. Yeah. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a physical threat that is imperiling this person, and this person has a chance to defend against, and you're rooting for them to defend themselves. Like, oh, grab those scissors. Well, what'll happen?
I also was horribly impressed because there's only one line of dialogue in this film.
Yeah.
Wow.
They definitely did the show don't tell.
Yeah. Which is
took
nice.
That to the max.
Yeah, which is nice because it's like even with there's something that's alluded to early in the film, which then comes full circle. There's an explanation towards the end of the film.
Yeah.
And it's a huge, huge thing in this character's life.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They definitely did a good job with that rather than just like blah, here it is. Oh, look, there's a headline on a wall, or these people are talking and whispering, and you hear what they're saying.
Right.
This was something that you're like, what happened? What happened?
But you're still inundated by this other stuff that's currently happening.
Yeah, you're and it's like an undercurrent of what's going on and why this character is the way they are, and they really do present this character. What's the character's name? I forget. Brynn, that's right. They present Brynn in this way that you see. I mean, she's really isolated. Very. She lives in this small town, like on the outskirts of this small town in this like picturesque, gorgeous house. And you're like, this house looks like it belongs in a Christmas catalog. Everything is completely manicured, pristine, little knickknacks and tchotchkes everywhere.
So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, you always do.
I have something to say here, but I feel like we need to speak to spoilers because
we'll get to our. I mean, there's nothing you can't discuss about this film without going into spoilers just yet.
No. I mean, I can, but I just... so, yes, we should at some point... Because I feel like we had a really great discussion about Talk to Me afterwards, and I wish some of that had hit the pod because there was a thing in the story that I wanted to ask you about. And I was like, yeah, I really don't want to do it because this movie... it's still in the theaters.
We'll
and it
do
just
the
came
thing
out.
we should have been doing on everything all the time and basically say, okay, this is the end of the review portion, and now let's get into spoilers.
Right. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Don't listen if you're not interested.
So let's do that. Okay. So going back to what you were saying, sorry.
Like we were talking about with the Show Don't Tell, you're learning about her character and the way she is, and she is very fastidious, very neat, very manicured, very polished, and she's trying to present this sort of happy, perfect image. She practices smiling in the mirror. She practices waving. And then when you see her not really interacting with people, but encountering people, you see her trying, smiling and waving, and these people are not reacting. There's something wrong going on. And it definitely piques your curiosity as to what is happening. Why do these people not like this girl?
Right. Why isn't she making
any kind of human connection? Why does she shy away when she sees police officers? She just goes to town. I'm guessing she runs like an Etsy shop where she sews, and she's delivering some dresses. I guess she pops them in the mailbox and she's out of there.
And back home.
And then she sits on her little manicured, beautiful little pier on the lake, where she has like a little chair and a beautiful little lunch set up, and she writes a note on stationery and nice handwriting to her friend Maud. And everything seems just so. They have like those fancy lighting you see at like bistros and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everything is just perfect.
I gotta be honest. If I lived in that house, I wouldn't venture far from it.
It was a beautiful home.
It was gorgeous.
Everything. I mean, for such a big house, she kept it nice and clean.
I know. I don't know how. I struggle with our 1,400.
We got 4 people that are able to work and clean this place up, and
we don't do.
It's always a disaster.
Yeah, we don't do any of that unless we have company.
That's
when we really haul ass and try to spruce up the place.
Yeah. So anyway, the film, like I said, definitely they're doing show don't tell, because you learn about Brynn through all of these little things. You could see what kind of personality she has. You could see she's dealing with some sort of thing. She's got anxiety about going out and encountering others, but you could see that she does want that.
Yeah.
She's learning how to teach. She's teaching herself how to dance with the little, like those old timey, you'll put the footsteps in the floor and follow the footsteps.
Yeah.
She wants that.
Yeah.
She wants that interaction, but if for some reason that you don't know about in the beginning of the movie, she can't have it.
Let's talk about Kaitlyn Dever.
She did a great job for a role with like practically no dialogue.
Amazing.
I mean, there is a line of dialogue, but it could have been in there or not, to be honest. Yeah. It was just her running the gambit of like fear and anxiety and glee and relief and all of that. And she just nailed it.
She was absolutely stunning. I was riveted. I was not bored. I was not tired. I mean, I am tired, but I kept awake on Sexy Couch with food. So she gets a 10 out of 10. No notes from me. I mean, her performance was
excellent job.
Amazing. Amazing. To tell a story basically with just your eyes and your facial expressions is not an easy feat.
No, that is a definite task.
And you made me care about this character. You made me care about what happened to her. in the past, what is happening to her currently, what is going to happen to her in the future. I feel like this young woman is just, wow. And I think that the film itself is really well done. It's nicely shot. It's a really strong story, but her performance elevates it, in my opinion. And I'm actually going to give it a higher number because of her specifically. What'd you think?
I mean, I thought she was great. She, like, for every reason that you just stated, it can't be easy to just be able to tell this story, be the focal point of that story, and not have like one of the tools in your toolbox, your voice. You're pretty much conveying all your emotions through your physicality.
Yeah.
And some people can't do that convincingly. And she had all the little subtle bits. You really got the sense of everything that I was describing before of a person who wants this sort of interaction, but is tortured by something that's from her past and just can't have it. If I were her, I would have just gotten the hell out of that town.
I know.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago. What did you think of the story itself? I mean, it's again, it's impressive because there is no dialogue. There is no one narrating. There's no exposition guy or girl. So you really have to rely on what's presented to you in your face.
That is rare for science fiction to not have an exposition guy.
Yeah.
Just pop in out of nowhere. Oh, the circles mean aliens are coming.
Yeah. But I love that because I feel like this is not something that you usually see in this type of genre movie. And I really loved, again, I don't know, maybe I was having a slow day, but I didn't see the horror originally. I mean, I felt like it was going to be like jump scary kind of from the trailer, but watching this now, like it amped up the tension and just the ambiance of the film. Like to me anyway, it was very unsettling. There were parts in that film where I just was like, this, I don't know how much more of this I can take because it was like one thing after another with her.
That's the thing about this movie and the fact that she doesn't speak. You are really in her head.
Kind of, yeah.
You are along the ride with her. There's no jokey asides or cuts, relief from the tension. There's no comedy relief. There's none of that. It's a lot of films, good films, they'll be your point of view character. And the thing is that you'll also have like these side characters and other things and asides and cuts and whatever. This was entirely focused on her. There was no moment where we were suddenly with a group of other people or even.
I mean, other people come in and out and other creatures come in and out, but they don't.
They're in the background. It's
her.
It's all Brynn and we are with Brynn and we are, because they, like going back to the show don't tell, because they're telling the story in this way. It's more of like a direct attachment to you because they're appealing. You're joining this character on a really emotional level because you're scared for her. You're excited for her that she's getting away or putting up defenses or clearing some sort of obstacle or whatever. And I mean, it's all, like I said, it's all emotion. Everything is carried on her face and her body and the way she's moving and everything. And
that is a lot of heavy lifting, and she does a really good job.
It's a lot of heavy lifting, and it's more, I guess I would say, visceral, maybe.
Yeah.
Because you're not relying on dialogue or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn, I'm tired. Ooh, one of these aliens going to stop coming. You don't get any of that crap. It's just you're as in the dark as she is. In fact, we're watching the movie and we're like, what is happening? What do these things want?
The hell is going on?
What the hell is going on here? And you're like figuring out, and also the aliens. It was interesting. Like, how do these guys work? What is this hierarchy? What is up with that?
And I don't know. Is that giving away a spoiler?
If you want to go into spoilers, we'll go into spoilers. Why don't we just give our numbers?
Okay.
and then we'll talk about spoilers. We'll be
I am
more
going
free.
to give this an 8.5. I was horribly impressed with this. Again, not much talking. There is maybe a line of dialogue, and that is it.
I think there's like a point where she says, "I'm sorry."
And yeah.
I mean, I read that there's more words than that, but I don't remember them.
Yeah, I think there's a line of dialogue and not much else. And this young woman knocked it out of the park. This was, from start to finish, just creepy and scary and anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
I'm watching this and I'm like, what in the hell? Run, girl, run. And don't stop running. And there's like these over the head shots of like just this house in isolation in the middle of all this greenery, which also makes it even
good. I mean,
creepier because
this had good cinematography.
This did have good cinematography.
Yes, it did. Unlike a recent film we saw that you said did not. I too would give it an 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was solid. I expected to like this from the trailer because I like creepy stuff, but this exceeded my expectations. Mm-hmm. And I feel like while this is sci-fi, I also feel like you can throw horror into the mix. I mean,
this has definitely got horror elements to it.
Yeah.
It's horror sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really like, I'm watching it and I'm like, there isn't a lot of stuff like this. It was really interesting to me because I feel maybe not two genres that you really
like maybe the original Alien
mashed together.
Like the original Alien.
It was funny. While I was watching it, I was thinking about, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland, the old one. I don't know. Did you ever watch that one?
I saw that one. Yeah. I guess I could see there might have been an influence there, but that's not really a major plot point.
No. It's not a major plot point.
It's not like a body snatcher movie, really.
It's not really, but just the tonality. There's this dread and this tension in the film.
Yeah. But I think more of some of those films they rely on a lot of like paranoia and stuff like that.
Sure.
This I don't feel was much paranoia because it was there's the threat right there,
right?
And I'm the only one here, and it's not like I'm trying to get people to convince you, oh my God, don't you believe me?
Yeah.
There's none of that.
Yeah. It's mostly dread and tension.
It's mostly dread and tension. You're terrified for this
young girl.
You're especially in the beginning. The beginning is like straight horror to me.
Yeah.
Scary, dreadful. Oh my God, what's happening? What is making that noise?
Yeah.
What is that shadow in the corner? I remember the first time when she goes to the top of the stairs and looks down and she sees the doors open, you feel, oh my God, that's kind of creepy.
Weird. Yeah. Well, my whole thing was...
But no, I'm not done yet. But then the way, like, she has that beautiful house, and there's like, I guess there's sort of like stained glass on one side.
Yeah.
And you just see something
some
behind
shadow.
the stained glass just move.
Yeah.
And you're just...
What?
Like you gasped.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was really well done.
No,
and you
absolutely excellent.
And then you hear the little bell on the schoolhouse that she just bought.
Yeah. Well, my big thing was, I certainly wouldn't be getting up in the middle of the night to
fix a garbage
can. But maybe that was her OCD. I don't know. But
it definitely was, and and for that it made sense because you got that from her.
Yeah.
Like even when she got out of bed, her slippers are so neat and tidy next to her bed.
Yeah. Everything.
And she has the nightgown on the hook and
yeah.
everything is in its place.
Yeah. Her nightgown matches the robe that goes over it.
Yeah. The teddy bear on the little thing just
of the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't cuddle with that. It's just placed where it's supposed to be because that's what it would look like in a catalog.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is definitely like a showpiece house.
Yeah. So do you want to switch over to spoiler talk
Absolutely.
now?
Absolutely. So yeah, I don't want to, if you haven't seen it, it just came out last night, but get on over to Hulu. It is unfortunate that this didn't hit the theaters, I think. I think this would have done well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I don't know what's coming out this weekend. We don't usually go to the theater, but I can't imagine that this wouldn't have done decent box office. It reminded me a lot of Prey. Like, a lot of people were like, they should have really released that in the theaters because that was really,
Prey was
really
outstanding.
good.
Yeah.
This was really good too. I don't know if it was as good as I think I like Prey a little bit more.
Hulu gets hold of some good movies.
Yeah, they really
Fresh.
do. Oh, loved Fresh.
Fresh was
Fresh
really
was
good.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't sleep on Hulu. I don't know what's going to happen with them. I mean, what's going on?
I think they got bought or Disney sold it maybe? I don't know.
I think that's what I've heard. Yeah, because there was that whole big fiasco with ESPN, right? It was just off the air for weeks at a time.
I have no idea.
And there was supposed to be some kind of...
pay me to watch ESPN, really.
Yeah, it was on my job for some bizarre reason. But anyway, yeah, I don't know who owns Hulu now, but I really hope that they don't dismantle that. Because I feel like of the streamers, listen, I love my Max. I don't think I could ever give that up because I think you have the old movies and you have the foreign films and you have the old stuff and new stuff and whatever. Although I hate all the Discovery stuff on it. I hate the Discovery stuff.
Yeah, reality TV sucks.
Yeah. And even though we pay for Disney Plus, I don't feel like we've really benefited.
We haven't really been using it much. Yeah.
No, we haven't really benefited from it in the last 6 months maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, that's their own fault, man.
Yeah. Although we got to watch that, what's that show?
Ahsoka. Yeah, I hear that's really good.
Yeah. And I want to see
maybe that'll get my confidence back, but honestly, the probably the main reason why I haven't been tuning into Disney Plus is because they've just crapped out a lot of mediocre stuff as far as the Star Wars and Marvel goes.
And not even just that, the Tom Hanks Pinocchio. Oof.
Oh, why'd you even mention that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was garbage
that
too.
Was trash.
Yeah, they haven't really put anything out that I was like, oh wow, that commercial really makes me want to go check out Disney Plus.
Yeah, and then the other stuff, I think they did a remake of Cheaper by the Dozen. I think I watched it with Olive. It was with Scrubs and Gabrielle Union.
Scrubs.
What's his name?
Zach Braff.
I almost said Zach Galifianakis. I'm like, wait, that's the wrong Zach.
Wrong Zach.
Yes, Zach Braff and Gabrielle Union. And that was just okay. But that to me was like a Disney show. What is it? Disney Plus? No, it's not Disney Plus.
They have a couple of channels.
The teen one.
Disney XD maybe.
XD or Freeform. It's in that.
Yeah.
It could have been on one of those stations. XD probably.
Yeah. Anyway, we're
but
off topic.
But a lot of really good stuff on Hulu. So
yes.
If you have Hulu, absolutely, without a doubt, go check out No One Will Save You. I mean, the title alone is also ominous and creepy and just what? What are you saying?
You know, I found a little I didn't know how I felt if I liked it or not. The way they showed the title in the beginning and the credit names, the font that they used, it seemed very
childish or not childish,
but old, like it belonged in Creepy Magazine or something like that. I don't know. It was
an old Hammer.
Yeah, it just seemed very strange. It felt like a throwback.
Don't you get that sense from Brynn's character? She dresses like she's a 50s housewife.
That's true.
And her house is like a 50s chalet kind of thing. But so are we talking to spoilers here?
Okay, yeah. So 8.5.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Hulu.
And if you don't want to hear any spoilers,
now's the time
to tune out. We'll wish you a good night. If you don't mind spoilers, stick around because here we go. What do you want to talk about?
So in the beginning, it was weird because sort of like your point before, how there are no human connections. Mm-hmm. So you wonder, did something happen with her? Was she involved in something? And you don't really get an idea until the end of what that something is. Did you see that coming?
I had the feeling that when I saw her sort of averting her eyes from the police,
it was for
that there was some sort of crime that probably happened. And then I had more of an inclination as to what it was when she was writing to her friend Maud And you get a couple of instances where you could see what she wrote, and one of them was, "I'm so sorry."
Oh, she wrote that? I remember the one sentence that jumped out at me was, "God, I miss you."
Yes, God, I miss you. And she also wrote, "I'm sorry."
Oh, I didn't notice that.
So, yeah, spoiler, Brynn, when they were children, they were childhood friends, and Brynn killed Maud.
Accidentally.
It was like a, I guess, rage moment where they were getting into an argument, and Maud pushed Brynn down. Brynn picked up a rock and swung it and hit Maud in the head, and that's all it took.
Yeah. And you see the scene where she sees Maud's parents at
the police station.
And the mother is
spits in her face.
That's
obviously another major clue there.
Yeah.
You don't want, and you see like the name tag on the father, because the father is the chief of police.
Right.
You see
his
Collins.
last name is Collins. Right. It's interesting because even though nothing is spoken up until that point, it obviously is a big tell, right? So it's like, oh. But in that moment, like when she's writing the letter in the beginning, like I didn't know that something bad had happened to Maud.
I mean, the first few lines, you think she's just writing to a friend who's not around,
right? Who's moved away or whatever.
But then you said, "God, I wish you could see it," or
"God, I miss you,"
or "God, I miss you." That it triggers something, or at least it triggers something in my brain where I'm like, "Oh, something. This is clearly connected to something bad." And then they show other you get the interaction with how she's weird around the police, and then eventually you see Maud's grave.
Right.
And
she's only 12 when
she's only 12, and you know that she's young because the only picture she has of Maud is her and her Maud as little kids,
girls. Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the aliens.
Fantastic.
Really good.
I love
really good work.
There was a moment there where because they move so strange.
Yeah.
Their feet, they could either walk on their feet like us, even though their toes are sort of very strange. Yeah. But then there were points where they showed that he was like standing on the toes, and the toes were just moving by them on their own.
Yeah.
So he can get like this creepy glide movement going.
Yeah.
And they look like the typical gray alien with the big head
eyes.
and the big black eyes. And they have telekinetic powers, obviously. They're opening stuff and closing stuff.
So it seemed like there were, because you had mentioned that before, like different tiers of aliens.
Yes.
Because then you see the huge ones that look like these giant spiders, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
There seemed to be three types of aliens. There was the normal gray, which we just described. Then there was this little feral one that had claws.
That was hyper violent.
Except for that one moment where it lets her go into the room. It's just sitting down at the end of the hallway.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. They would like sit in these like very weird geometric shapes.
Yeah.
Like that was like it added to the body movement that it was like.
Yeah. Well, that there was a scene. Was it the bigger alien that did it? Like that, it felt like a horror movie. You know, in the horror movies when like the girl's possessed and she's just
and the movements were like so sharp. Yeah. It was like almost like stop motion.
Kinda, yeah.
And you had the little feral one, and then the
ginormous one,
really tall ones where they have like super long arms,
legs.
Long
legs. Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah,
that was the craziest. Well, the little feral one was scary. That whole
little feral one was scary, but
like,
she was like that one clearly didn't have any sort of like special abilities. It was just there to cut and kill and whatnot. And the big one, I don't know what the big one seemed to be communicating with the ships.
Right.
So yeah, and then on top of that, there were possessed humans.
Yes.
Because it seemed like the aliens would, I guess, cough up some sort of weird little tentacle egg or something, and then it would put that it would crawl into the person's mouth.
Right.
And I guess it would just possess them. Although there was the bit where like she gets it out of her and they beam some sort of light on it and it becomes like a clone of her.
Yes.
So there's a lot of strange stuff going on.
And because there's no dialogue,
it's really up to you to try and figure it out, which is
great. Yeah.
I personally like that sort of thing. I don't mind that I don't know exactly how these aliens work.
And I love that the filmmaker is like, okay, you have to be proactive here. You have to be a proactive audience here.
You gotta think on your own.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy that as well. So,
especially with this ending.
Yes. Well, we'll get to the ending in a minute. So I'm glad you brought up the thing. So then she makes the clone, or the spaceship makes the clone of her, whose mission, I guess it is, to end the original Brynn. Mm-hmm. And something else happens instead.
No, Brynn kills the clone instead.
Yeah.
Which I guess obviously puts a monkey wrench in their initial plan. Right. I'm wondering if everybody was a clone or if some people were just easily subdued and the things were just in their neck.
I don't know. And then from the ending, we'll get to the ending in a minute, but before we reveal the ending, did you think that the aliens were here for kind of like domination, like the whole Earth? Or because when the sequence when she's on the bus, there were definitely people that were already possessed, but then there were people that were not.
Yeah.
So the woman stayed in the bus. You never see the possessed woman because she went after Brynn too, but then it was the mail carrier.
Mailman, yeah.
But the other woman stayed on the bus. So did she turn all those other people, I wonder? Or
I don't know.
Is it her job or is it one of the big-eyed aliens? Because the big-eyed alien is the one that tried to turn Brynn.
I'm guessing the tentacle egg comes from the big-eyed alien, the gray, the typical gray. I don't think the humans have extra eggs inside of them because it only seemed like there was the one in the throat that was always like sort of like you'd see it almost. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if what happened to the other people on the bus. It's another one of those things where it's just use your imagination. I don't know.
Yeah.
After the bus, she just runs back home and she starts, I guess, trying to
fortify
her lair. Yeah, exactly. Although she doesn't actually do a lot.
No, she does. Well, I mean for a single young girl.
I think that sort of makes sense because she's not a survivalist. She's just a craftsperson.
Right.
So it makes sense that she wouldn't be like, all right, I'm going to go in the closet and bust out Grandpa's old elephant gun and go kill and set up some bungee pits and stuff.
But the other thing was, too, that she had this tenacity to survive.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, I got to be honest, as soon as I saw like the 50-foot one, I would have been like, okay, it wasn't 50 feet, but you know what I'm saying.
It was super tall.
It was super tall. As soon as I saw the big one, I would have been like, okay, we're done here. I would have gone back to my house. I would have turned on the gas and I would have stuck my head in the oven. That would have been it. That would have been it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't fucking with you.
Yeah. So.
Nope.
Anyway, I guess like the big thing to talk about is just the end.
How did you feel about the end? Even though I gave this an 8.5, I don't know how I felt about that ending, to be honest. And that's the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, because I was like, up until the end, or up until before the end sequence, I was 100% committed to this film. I was like, wow, this is an amazing storytelling experience. Yeah. But then the end didn't ruin it, but it wasn't as satisfying an end as I hoped it could have been. But wait, one more thing. Before we talk about the ending, she gets hauled up into the ship.
Yeah.
And this is where it's revealed what happened with Maud.
Right, yeah.
Do you think that the aliens cut her slack because of that? Or did she just prove herself by just kind of killing and being a survivalist? Because she, like you mentioned, like she rips that thing out of her neck. And so I feel like they already knew, like, no matter what we do to this girl, she's going to fight back. So let's just work with her.
I mean, that's the thing about the ending, especially that last sequence of, from the moment of her pulling it out and the thing with the clone and then going up into the spaceship, how you interpret that really
is up to you as a viewer.
Is up to you as an individual, and then you have to like sort of like make it work with that ending.
Right.
The ending
is bizarre.
It pretty much sees her happy. Yeah. She is living in a world that is exactly the way she wants it to be.
Accepting of her.
Everybody's accepting of her. They're all dancing. Everything is decorated perfectly. It's like her house is now the entire town.
Yes.
And
nobody's mean to her.
Nobody's mean to her. Everybody's accepting, and she is sad. She is happy. She is complete, basically. And in my mind, it seemed to me that I don't think the aliens were trying to enslave humanity. They were basically just trying to, I guess, make everyone happy. And Brynn was not going to be happy because when she gets the egg in her throat, she wakes up and everything is perfect.
Right.
But it's a fantasy. It's a dream. She actually sees Maud, and she actually gets to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, that's what she really wanted, to actually be able to tell Maud she was sorry. And once she does that, she wakes up and pulls that thing out of her mouth.
Right.
And so the aliens can't give her this sort of Matrix-style happiness. So instead, it's just, okay, well, we don't want to kill you. I think that may be the point. The aliens don't really want to kill her. Mm-hmm. She killed the alien before it was in the beginning, before it was able to do whatever it wanted to do. It was just turning her around, but it makes sense. She was terrified.
It also seemed aggressive, though.
It did, but these are aliens, and they are clearly like miles ahead technologically than us. We're probably
in the Stone Age,
like monkeys to them.
Yeah.
So I get the impression that the aliens just wanted to make what would you call it? Like a utopia where they could just, all right, you're here, everybody's happy, everybody gets a little egg put inside of them. I don't know if these eggs turn into other aliens. I guess that's going to be up to you or as the viewer to think, well, okay, maybe 5 years down the line, they just explode out of the person's body.
Oh my God.
Or maybe they just crawl out of the person and become another alien or a clone of the person. I don't know. There's a lot of things that you just sort of have to intuit on your own.
I feel like none of those people were real. They were all clones, right? I think that because were
they clones, or did they just have this parasitic thing inside of them still? Like were the original people killed? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no body. You never see.
The clone tried to kill Brynn to eliminate her.
Right, but that was because Brynn pulled it out and the clone had to be, I guess, made of her. Mm-hmm. But did that happen with anybody else? Because you don't see single human body anywhere. Even when she's going through the town or going through the area where you see all like the circles on the ground for, I guess, the ships and whatnot. You never see dead bodies anywhere.
True.
In fact, most of the houses they look okay. They're in decent shape. The only damage you really see is the mail truck that got tipped over.
Right.
So I don't know if because Brynn was definitely unique amongst the people in the town. She suffered this trauma and this guilt and this anxiety, and every day for her was just being completely isolated and never forgiving herself. She had so much, like there was that room where it was just like letters and letters and letters to Maud.
To Maud, yeah. I'm
sorry. They
also did a really good job of highlighting her anxiety.
Yeah. She was there. Yeah. That's on the actress. She's
really good in
job.
this. But still, I mean, like, obviously this is part of the script and it's got to be conveyed. So the actress does a really great job of communicating that on film.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's sort of like what the ending was. It was the aliens basically saying, okay, well, you don't have to feel this guilt anymore. You don't have to be scared of all of these people anymore. Everything will be as you want it. This is your utopia now. And these people don't care because they're all inside their head living their best lives. Mm. So who cares what their bodies are doing?
Yeah.
Teach them to dance. Have a big pastel-colored cook-off in the middle of town.
Yeah. Again, not sure how I felt about the ending.
Yeah,
but because it veers so left field from what the rest of that film was, because it really was dread, horror, sci-fi, suspense kind of thing. And then the end is sort of like this campy throwback to like a 60s film.
She was,
And it was
but I think that was just Brynn's idea of paradise.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, I'm not saying it's. Yeah, I could see people not liking that. I definitely feel it was. Yeah, I wasn't 100% on board with it, but it made sort of sense to me.
Yeah.
So that's why that's probably why I didn't give it a 9. I gave it an 8.5 as opposed to a 9.
Same. I think if this had held a tone throughout, I would have definitely gone higher. But and again, I think the thing that elevates this film for me is Kaitlyn Dever.
Yeah,
she was amazing.
She is the star.
She is a star in this.
Awesome job.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really, really impressed with her. I hope that this opens up a lot of doors for her.
Definitely, because
I mean, she has a decent resume on IMDb, but I hope that this actually expands her opportunities, because she single-handedly
to pull that off.
Pull this whole thing off without dialogue. I mean, I would be curious what the script for this looks like. It's probably just notes, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's no dialogue in this, and yet you're invested, you're on board, and you're rooting for Brynn to like make it.
Yeah, no, definitely recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. So 8.5. If you have Hulu, absolutely do yourself a favor. You will not regret it. Go check out No One Will Save You. Also very ominous title, right?
Very ominous title.
From 2023, just came out yesterday. PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. That is the sweet spot for horror movies, right?
Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah.
Doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah. And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.